YouTube, what's poppin', man? Explicit Sage back here with another video. Today we are reviewing Dark Souls 3 Deluxe Edition. I'm gonna take you through the entire journey. Is this game truly worth your time? And I'm gonna point out why this game is the one that truly broke the Souls games for me. I've been someone who's been interested in the Souls game. They always intrigued me, and the huge fan base that it has always interested me. Like, yo man, what's this all about, bro? What are these difficult games, bro? And I gave it a shot with the other Souls games. Started off with Dark Souls Remastered, didn't really hit the mark for me. Went over to Dark Souls 2, got me slightly intrigued, quite interested. Sunk my teeth into Bloodborne, and that got me a bit interested. Still haven't completed either of those titles, but as soon as I started to play Dark Souls 3, bro, I think that's what was truly the selling point for me. And as soon as I touched that shield, bro, it was a wrap, bro. And I've genuinely enjoyed playing Dark Souls 3. I'm somebody who tends to enjoy story games, but this took me back to my childhood, back when I used to play back on the PS2, playing these old adventure type games. This is what really got me into it. So let's get right into the video, guys. Now, since Dark Souls 3 isn't particularly a narrative-driven game, for example, compared to games such as God of War, where the story is at the forefront of the game, this game is much more pushed in terms of level design, the beautiful world, the character that you choose to roleplay as, and the different builds that you can choose throughout your gameplay experience. So we're going to fragment this into different parts as we usually do. We'll consider the gameplay, the world, Lordran, the atmosphere, and then we're going to consider the user interface and the RPG elements, as this is a very good RPG role-playing game. So let's get right into it, starting with the world. The first category that I want to tackle in terms of covering Dark Souls 3 is the world. Lordran, we have returned. If you're someone who's not new to the Dark Souls series and you've played the original, I of course started off with Dark Souls Remastered. That was my first experience with the Souls games, so I gave that a shot, played it a bit. I have yet to complete it. I have gotten to the point where I have to fight the final 4 lords, but I just haven't fought either of them yet. And at that point, I'd honestly lost quite a bit of interest in the games. So it was actually quite interesting in Dark Souls 3 to finally come back to Lordran, but to see it in a more, deserted state or degraded state, because we see different parts of Lordran that we hadn't exactly seen before, and we see it in a much more degraded state, ashen one. The world that we are in has come to ash, and that's the world that we are now in. And I have to be absolutely honest, it is quite interesting. Quite a vast difference if you had played perhaps Dark Souls 1 in terms of the interconnectedness of the design and the level design. It's definitely set up to be a much more linear experience. Not a whole lot of backtracking as there was in comparison to the first game. So it's quite a large difference there. You can even see it from the way that they designed a lot of the game mechanics, because from the first instance, you can fast travel from the multiple bonfires that you have available in the game. So that shows that the way that they were going for a more streamlined type experience, where you can just continue and play the game in an interesting way. And choosing to go in this particular direction has some pros and cons, because the interconnectedness of the first game was definitely very interesting. It was like worlds jam-packed on top and underneath each other, and that definitely did make things interesting. But in this case, Dark Souls 3, of going for a much more linear approach and trying to tackle the world in this way, makes it interesting, because everything that you go through and experience is new, and it's definitely much more tailor-made, and it definitely keeps things interesting throughout. So I'll definitely say that I did enjoy this experience this time. The level design is peak and sensational, as it usually is with these Souls games. It definitely took me back to my childhood playing on the PS2. I used to play a whole lot of adventure games back in the day. Didn't even really consider the story that much as I enjoy it now. But it took me back to those days where I could just sit back, relax, and figure it out. It was interesting to solve all these various environmental puzzles of trying to find out which direction you're supposed to go. And then the various bosses that you fight definitely look cool. Dark Souls 3 probably has the coolest bosses I've ever had to fight, and the music once again is top notch with every single encounter that you have. The music is sensational throughout, from the main menu and to the various environments that you're in. Definitely interesting. In Dark Souls 3, you'll definitely be treated to a visual spectacle. The various biomes, the different environments that you embark on this journey are truly sensational. The different areas that you come across, the dry areas, the cold areas, every area looks absolutely gorgeous when you step into them. Returning to the Anno Londo area was particularly special. Of course, you come to this place in Dark Souls 1 and you see this once thriving, beautiful kingdom that's now been deserted. Was pretty cool to see. But seeing it here in Dark Souls 3, the artists definitely did not spare any expense or amount of effort into making sure that Anno Londo looks absolutely beautiful. When I saw those great big letters saying Anno Londo and walking back there, it was absolutely beautiful. I was like, I've already arrived back here. It looks absolutely sensational to be back there. It looks great. And it's a very interesting design choice of them to choose and to change the season for it to be a winter wonderland. The beautiful Lordran that we're used to seeing in Dark Souls and Dark Souls Remastered is turned to ash, fitting with the game's theme. It's changed. The lower levels of the area is a winter wonderland, and the top area is a dark skyscraper filled with emptiness. The places that we used to visit are no longer inhabited, and the great giant who used to craft us those special weapons at the higher level no longer lives, and you're able to fetch and collect a special item from him. Kind of saddening if you had played the first game and to see that the world has further and further degraded since our last experience there. So if we're talking in terms of the world and level design, they've definitely done a great job here. You definitely will be enjoying the experience that you'll be playing over here. What Dark Souls it does not fail to let you know is that the world that you're playing with and that you're playing in is painful, and it will torture you, and their goal is to kill you dead. Every single thing could be an obstacle. Very interesting. Of course, as you play throughout the game, you'll come across multiple hidden enemies. There'll be areas of the map that you'll fall through and fall into. There'll be things that cause you to die in one shot. That's just the nature of the game, and the sooner you accept that, the much sooner you'll also be able to enjoy the experience for what it is. And I think that's really what you have, the mindset that you need to adopt when you're playing these sorts of games. We as gamers, we may play something, experience something, and be disappointed for what it isn't, instead of truly appreciating it for what it is. I experienced a similar problem when I played the Uncharted games. My first experience with games from Naughty Dog was actually The Last of Us, and I highly enjoyed that game. I thought the narrative and the characters were absolutely great, sensational. Joel and Ellie's relationship was definitely noteworthy, and I thoroughly enjoyed that experience. So when I finally got my PlayStation 4, and then my first time I was exposed to Nathan Drake was Uncharted 4. Now I'll say this, I definitely did enjoy the game for what it not exactly for what it was. I did enjoy the experience because this is of course my first experience with the PlayStation 4. The graphics, it was a huge leap in terms of technicality, the visuals and everything. It was, at the time when I played it, it was the best looking game out there, bro. It's sensational stuff right there. But I always remembered that I didn't like it. I always saw the gameplay as very, very basic gameplay. The relationships and the interactions between the characters, the issues that I had there was that I felt that it was always on the surface level and they didn't go deeper. Of course, in comparison to the other games, other strongly narrative-driven games, they do go deeper in terms of relationships, such as even their own production, The Last of Us. And that's caused me to have an issue with it and say, oh, come on, man, the gameplay is basic. The parkour is one track, it's not that great. It looks good and it's kind of fun, but it didn't blow me away. And then it was only after I played Uncharted, the Nathan Drake collection, and truly replayed the entire series from start to finish, that I realized that no, I'm tackling it from the wrong way. I'm comparing it to RPGs and other types of games that it just isn't. I even compared it to Tomb Raider and even gave that the new reboot of the 2013 Tomb Raider that came out said, yo, at least in this game there's even some sort of progression. Like you can upgrade your weapons, do this, do that. So that's the issue that I faced. So what really caused me to change and review it in a way that was correct was to really look at Uncharted and understand what type of story they were trying to tell, what type of game that they were trying to make, and view it differently. Uncharted is the definition of a game that I would consider is a roller coaster. There isn't a lot of things that you can do in terms of freedom or the different ways in which you can complete your activities, but you definitely do still enjoy the entire journey there. And I think that's the similar mindset that you need to adopt with a Dark Souls. It's not going to be like any game that you've played before. It's going to be quite different. Perhaps if you've played classic original adventure type games where there really wasn't much of a narrative. Narrative was never really much of the focus, and when we were children we would skip past all those cutscenes. We truly wouldn't care. It's just that narrative driven games have taken the forefront, and I think if you can try and adopt that and try and accept Dark Souls for what it is, of course some people may not relate to this, but there's guys, if you show me a man who doesn't revel at a challenge, then that isn't a man to me, man. So I think you should at least give Dark Souls a shot. Dark Souls 3 is a great place to start because I'd say there's quite a balance. The gameplay is smooth, it's great, it's definitely something you can jump straight into. And if you've had issues with the Souls games, perhaps you've had multiple issues with it, this is definitely the most streamlined version of Dark Souls that you will definitely enjoy. And just so I can wrap up the part about Uncharted, I decided to change the way in which I viewed it. I always tried to compare it to Tomb Raider and The Last of Us, and always said, they're not going as deep as I'd like them to. And then I realized, no, that's not what they're trying to be. What they're trying to be is essentially a long Saturday or Sunday night action movie. That is literally what they're trying to be, an Indiana Jones. If you compare and if we can consider those movies aren't exactly deep or go into deep conversations throughout the movie. It's about the journey and that there are multiple events that happen throughout it. And as you see how these characters act in these multiple situations, then you start to care and like them during this journey. And that's when I truly started to enjoy Uncharted. When I truly started to change the way that I viewed the journey. It's not about having deep conversations and heartfelt conversations and traumatic experiences, such as The Last of Us, but it's a fun, loving, exciting adventure that you can just sit back, relax and enjoy. You don't have to think too much. You just have fun with the game. And I think that's the same attitude that you need to have here with the Dark Souls. Guys, just have fun. fight these enemies, have fun with them, they're interesting. There are so many builds and weapons that you can choose. So let's jump right into that. Let's get into the user interface and the various builds and as different sections of the gameplay. Now, as I've mentioned before, Dark Souls 3 is definitely the most streamlined version of the Dark Souls experience, and it's streamlined for the better. I wouldn't say FromSoft have lost any of the originality or the things that have made the other games special. They've definitely made the experience very interesting. All the things that are there in the previous games are still here. There are plenty of secret areas that you can completely miss if you don't go out there and explore. So nothing is definitely lost in terms of that. The only thing that, if you're gonna argue that, is that they've lost the interconnectedness of the world that was in Dark Souls 1, but that hasn't really been the trend that they've chosen to continue with in all of their sequels. So in terms of user interface, very easy and simple to understand if you're someone who is used to playing video games, RPGs. This is going to be a fairly simple system to understand. You can hold multiple weapons in your hand. You can two-hand one weapon, and that will allow you, of course, to do more damage. But of course, you won't be able to use a shield or use other spells and such things. User interface is great. There's sections for your inventory, for your statistics. It's very clear and understandable on how you can upgrade your characters. And this new upgraded filing shrine that has all the companions that are helping you in your journey there all in one convenient place is really helpful. You don't have to travel far and wide. Just upgrade your weapons and possibly lose all your souls. And the fast travel mechanic also greatly helps with that as well. So it's filing shrine essentially becomes your town or store that you use to level up, rest, charge up, and get ready for your next battle. In terms of builds, the build that I chose was a strength and dexterity build, mainly focusing on strength. That was what I was pushing for. I read Berserk. I thoroughly enjoyed that manga. RIP to Amira. But good news, I'm so happy that the manga is going to be continuing and coming back, so I'm hyped for that. So initially my original goal was to play with a large sword, and I play with that, but I ended up using a small sword and a shield for probably the first half of the game. And then when I finally received the profaned great sword, that's when I changed and I pretty much completed the game with that weapon. Really enjoyed it. When I finally dropped it, that's when I realized how much the game truly changed. And shout out to HH Bomber Guy, when he said, yo, just abandon the shield. When I abandoned the shield, the game became that much more fun, because you really don't need the shield, guys. And after dropping it, I really enjoyed it. The strength was great. Of course, I upgraded multiple things. The class that I chose was the warrior, because it had the most highest strength stats. That's the one I chose. That's what I was vibing with. Dexterity, so I could pretty much a weapon specialist was the type of character that I was aiming for. So I could pretty much choose and play with any weapon, whether it was a shimtar, great sword, small sword, broadsword, long sword. Because I actually did spend quite a bit of my gameplay with the longsword. Quite an enjoyable weapon that helped me throughout. Used the multiple gems. That's one of the nice things here, that you're able to add multiple things. There's a lot of variety in terms of your gameplay and upgrade systems. Surprisingly, you cannot make any alterations to your armor, only weapons, but that does help and make the game more simpler, and you can focus much more on other things that are more important in this game. So in terms of the longsword, I'd used a raw gem that would take away some of the stat boosts, but would greatly increase the damage. So that's just an example of the few ways in which you can upgrade your weapons. Of course, the boss weapons are definitely the most notable weapons. They're very cool, and the game has made it very simple and understandable for you to be able to upgrade these weapons and attain them. And of course, depending on the boss, they're going to come with their own special perks. And I think it's this game that truly introduced FP. Each every single weapon has I'm not exactly sure what you guys will be able to correct me on that, but every single weapon has a special move that consumes your magical energy. And as someone who really enjoys magic in games, but in this playthrough I definitely wanted to push for strength. It definitely was a highlight, because even though I was playing as a strong warrior, because of these awesome weapons that I was using, I was able to attack my enemies using cool fire attacks, ice attacks. So it definitely kept it fresh, interesting, and it's a great power move that you can execute at any time when you need to be. So it's definitely a great mechanic that I was happy to partake in, man. So I was very, very happy with the experience. Now guys, let's talk about value. Is this game truly worth your time? I'm gonna say absolutely yes. Go ahead and pick up this game. I know all of you may be thinking, yo bro, I'm just gonna pick up Elden Ring. If you're done with Elden Ring, or you haven't played Elden Ring yet, I'd say go ahead and pick this up, bro. It's gonna make you enjoy that experience far more, as you have an understanding of the world and the various mechanics that the Souls games use. So it's gonna be a great and natural progression for you to jump into that game. And honestly, as a game by itself, it's definitely a solid experience. You definitely will be enjoying it. So you won't have to be worrying like, am I wasting my hard-earned cash on this? No. Guys, go ahead and pick up Dark Souls 3, the Deluxe edition. Haven't really talked much about the DLC, but the DLC is solid. I actually haven't completed all of it just yet. The DLC that I have completed is Ashes of Ariandel. Had a bit of trouble finally defeating the final boss. I won't spoil that for you, but Sister Freed. But I definitely was an interesting battle, and I was finally able to defeat her with some help. But it's definitely solid DLC. It's a decent continuation of the game. I will be straight up with you. This content is not on the same level as the main game. Okay, if I'm just talking Ashes of Ariandel, you could miss it and be completely fine. I'm right now. I'm on Ringed City. And in terms of environmental storytelling, very interesting environment. It's something you haven't seen in terms of Dark Souls. It's something very interesting. So I've only gotten up to the first boss in the Ringed City, so I'm not gonna have too much to say on that. But guys, it's Dark Souls 3 goes on sale quite regularly. No matter the platform that you're on. I played it on PlayStation 4, had a great experience with it. If you just find Dark Souls 3, the Deluxe Edition, available on sale on PS Plus, not PS Plus, PSP, the PlayStation Store, you can definitely find a great deal for this. Go ahead and pick this up if you haven't yet sunk your teeth into the Souls genre, or you're looking for something enjoyable to play after you've completed Elden Ring. So thank you guys so much for listening to my review. I myself am definitely interested in also picking up Elden Ring. Excited to finally play that. But before I do that, I think I do need to complete Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls Remastered, and Bloodborne. I actually have started all those games and do have a couple of hours under my belt for each of those games. I just haven't gotten around to completing them. And I'd say Dark Souls 3 has successfully solidified my enjoyment and my very much like of the Souls series. So I definitely think I will be playing them, and I do enjoy them. Bloodborne was really the beginning part of when I started to enjoy these types of games. But Dark Souls 3 just sold it for me, and that solidified my enjoyment and how much I truly enjoy these games. So hey, FromSoft has been successful and have successfully turned me into a person who enjoys the Souls games. Not easy to do, because initially when I first, as I mentioned before, playing Neo, wasn't really vibing with the ish, but they definitely did turn me over. So in terms of value, guys, go ahead and pick this game up on sale. Please pick it up on sale. Do not buy it at normal retail price, especially if you're going to be buying it off the PlayStation Store or whatever platform, because those prices are not reduced. The only time you get to experience the actual reduced prices or when it's on sale. That's when you're able to see like, okay, the value of this game is actually decreased. Or unless you're buying a physical copy, then perhaps at your local game store you will be able to get it for a much cheaper price. So I'll go ahead and get the game in whichever way that you see fit. So I thank you guys so much for watching another patient gamer review with Explicit Sage. Thank you for coming. I will be posting more content. More content is on the way. I've got some other channels with some different type of content on the way. So I will put that in the description so you see what's up. So yeah, thanks guys. Appreciate the like, comment and subscribe. Do me a solid. Like, comment and subscribe. You know, starting out, we're on our way up. Yeah, more on the way. I'm gonna try, as I said before, I'm gonna try to be more consistent. At least a review every month, so you guys gonna be fed around down here, bro. Gonna be fed. And guys, if I'm talking about a game, if I review it, you guys are definitely going to be happy with it. Before I go, almost I forgot to actually give the game a rating. If I'm going to rate this game out of 10, 9 out of 10. Solid experience. Solid experience, my guys. And I played this at 30 FPS and I'm still giving it a 9, bro. Great experience. FromSoft, in terms of optimization, it goes great on the PS4, so no worries there. But yeah, 9 out of 10. Solid experience. You're definitely going to enjoy it. It's a great game, guys. Go ahead and get it.